Welcome back to Dark Boy, and we officially start episode 2 with this prophesized one. Alright,
Prophesized one.
there's a
Wait,
cutscene in the
wait. This is a
Hold on.
prophesied one?
There's a cutscene in the beginning, so pay attention, because it's stupid enough.
Oh, yeah.
Especially because the people who are talking are not exactly humans. Yes, alien reptilians.
Didn't we know about those lizard things already?
And apparently Will is called the key. The key to what?
Did these
What?
things?
Time?
Did these
wait,
things
wait.
come? From...
Hold on, wait. Are these aliens actually sentient and able to speak?
Although in a serpentine kind of way.
Wait,
Those
wait.
designs look like straight out of an MCU movie.
So here's my question. One, why are they showing up in his head? At least I assume they are. And two, why...
No, it's what's happening in the same moment. Anyway, this is our next supporting character called Atem.
Oh, hey, are we going to do Yu-Gi-Oh?
No, sorry.
I wish.
Yes.
So,
Anyway, pay also attention because right now in this portion of gameplay we will discuss where they are and everything.
so let me guess. In this world, the serpents can actually speak, whereas
Hold
in
on.
our world, they are...
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So is it prophesized or prophesied as it was written there? Like I don't
Prophesied. Without the C.
prophesied?
Yeah.
Weird. I never heard that one. I thought it was prophesized.
I don't know.
Weird.
Oh,
Anyway,
cool, we
again,
can fly now.
Yeah, although again your movement is limited, so it's more suggested to you to use your TPS mode. I skipped a bit because I died in the middle and this section can be a bit long without the dialogue, so don't worry, you haven't lost anything.
So is like the deal like, well, in our world, the alien reptiles become like, I don't know, some, let me guess, their brainwaves are like incredibly reduced so that they're only predatorial primates.
No, Jove, it's more simple than that. You will get an explanation, I think, at the end of this part, if not earlier. Yeah, I think right in the middle of the part. But so you will get an explanation of who the aliens are and what their deal is. But right now, what you need to know is that we are in, like I mentioned in the previous part, similar to Indy 4, a space between spaces.
I mean,
A sort of pocket dimension where these aliens are fighting humans. Why and how? Well, that's what the explanation later is for.
so do we ever get an explanation about why there are some that are smart enough to talk and then the others only just give grunts and growls?
Caste system. That's pretty much it.
So some are just born able to talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has it kind of gives the vibe of an insect. Like, anyway, if you need to know, Job, Atem is voiced by J.D. Hall.
Really?
Apparently he has an extensive acting career in both series and movies. Apparently he was in Jaws the Revenge.
Yes, he was.
Is that better or worse?
Jaws the Revenge
I
has a
don't
0% on... Well, it had a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know if it still does. But it was one of those films bad enough to get the 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Also, he was the narrator in The Scorpion King 3. Good to know, I guess.
Well, hold on. When did that movie come out?
Jaws the Revenge, 1987.
Oh, and they managed to get a trophy. By that point, there were much less reviewers. Sorry, it has much less reviews than your typical film that comes out nowadays. So,
Hey. Oh, sorry, go on.
it's much more likely. Like like for example, let's take Toy Story 2. Toy Story 2 has a 100%. On Rotten Tomatoes, but if you compare the number of reviews on Rotten Tomatoes with that movie compared to, say, Avengers Endgame or something like that, it has much less reviews, like a significant less. So it's kind of a fair comparison because the standards are different because without an equitable number of reviewers, it's not really a fair comparison because one has the clear advantage.
Also, Jova, apparently J.D. Hall was also, it's stated he had additional voices in Ghost Dad.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. Okay. I mean, the thing is, like, well, even still, though, Jaws the Revenge is still considered one of the worst movies of all time, even to this day.
Oh, sure.
It's symbolizing the problem with sequelitis on some particular franchises.
Yeah, wait till we even get to those movies. Then I can talk
It's
about
similar.
the deep, rich
It's
lore.
kind of similar to the track that the studios fell when it came to Hellraiser, by basically thinking that Pinhead was supposed to be treated kind of like a slasher killer or a monster, from a monster movie and everything, and made the series basically about him instead of, about people finding the boxes and everything. Anyway, basically, what you need to do in this particular mission is basically protect Atem and kill all the enemies inside.
Friend, yes.
Dwebs, what device are you constructing?
A device that will get me as
Horizon
far away
jetpack.
from this game as possible.
Also, another skip because I died again, and this is the section we introduced, is the sniper enemies. In true TPS tradition, they can get a bit pretty annoying because the AI for them is cranked up to the max. But once you get your hands on their rifles, you can become annoying to the enemy too, because it actually has a good range in terms of viewing the scope. And it's a decent enough penetration effect, so you can dispatch enemies more quickly. So there is some fairness here, it's just that you need to get through that, and thankfully, thanks to the jetpack, you can get through on a vertical level. There you go. The major annoying problem instead are the flying enemies, because enemies have a jetpack similar to you, but they keep moving around and around and only stay still for a couple of seconds in order to shoot you. And you need to take advantage of that moment. And yes, some enemies are actually snipers, so you combine the two things together and get and become pretty annoying.
Fun for the whole family.
Basically, like I said, this mission is to protect Atem, since he doesn't have a jetpack, he's moving on the ground. And if you're thinking, oh, he just can get, himself, he just can handle himself and you can bomb rush away. Yes and no. Unlike most escort mission, Atem doesn't have the case of like saying, oh, the dragon mouth is completely open, has a pen inside, let me go take a look. But at the same time, he cannot hold his own for much long. Eventually, enemies will start picking up on him and shooting all over the place, so you kind of need to help him at the same time. Basically, it's a kind of a fair ground, I have to say. Could have been way worse.
Wow, what's the worst one? GoldenEye 007?
What? In terms of escort mission, no, Dweebs. That honor really goes to a Konami game of the early 2010s called Never Dead. Believe me, Dweebs, I got it and tried it for a while, but even I can't make heads or tails on how to handle it. And from what people on the SSMB told me, it's perfectly normal, apparently.
Honestly, Dwebs, I would argue that the escort missions in GoldenEye 007, as long as you don't step into any landmines or anything like that, because the enemies in GoldenEye always shoot towards Bond, never against your escorts. So as long as you don't fuck around, you should. I was always fine.
Hey,
The worst
Theo.
escort mission in gaming is Pele the Beloved Dog.
Hold on, we're about to get another bit of dialogue.
Well, she would technically to be considered an escort mission. It has to.
So, sorry, I was just fucking around. Basically, this is gonna be a taste of for things to come, because now we can leave Atem behind, since it's now in a safer position and everything, and go get to help some people that he's friends with, that are dealing with bogies.
Oh, goody, fetch quest.
Well, actually, no, it's mandatory. There are no side missions, Jova.
You're not gonna shoot him?
Why would you do that?
The game is extremely linear in that sense.
Oh,
It's not open world and everything. Anyway, continue, Pedro.
An escort mission implies that your escort can actually die. Otherwise, it's not really an escort mission. You're just kind of.
Technically, they do list even the ones where your partner can't die under escort, so long as you're escorting someone.
Oh, that depends, Jova. If you're referring to Bioshock Infinite, it still works, only but in a sense that it's Elizabeth escorting you instead.
Pretty much. Oh yeah, Elizabeth is one of the best escort partners you can get.
Mostly just because she's invulnerable. If they actually made her vulnerable, it would be Bioshock Infinite as a whole. It would be a chore. I'm pretty convinced that the studio realized that halfway through and just decided, well, fuck it, let's just make her invincible. It will make things easier for everyone.
Oh, it's not just the fact that she's invincible, but she also helps you with your ammo too, big time.
Oh no, well, that's just a plus, like that in itself. But in a sense, she always goes around the field, sometimes like in front of the enemies, and everything.
That looked like it hurt.
So anyway, yeah, now we have to do the thing and this thing and take down an entire Star Destroyer, because that's clearly what it is.
We'll do the thing.
And it's a good thing that I upgraded Max because the jetpack, because if you only have it normal, you only have the machine guns at disposal, which still do decent damage, but it may take a while for this. Fully upgraded, the jetpack actually gives you a small rocket launcher that immensely helps.
I think what this
Or
game...
you can just use your guns like
I think
that.
what this game could use is something like a hovering feature where, you can hover around slowly and then just shoot it oh, yeah, like that.
Yeah, you can do that, like I said, and that's where the fuel comes in. It's right on top,
Oh,
the fuel bar.
there you go then.
And in this kind of also functions, this is more like a turret defense mode, because you basically need to protect the base. You will need to do this type of mission a couple more times in the game, and I honestly not really a fan of the genre in itself, so this can get a bit annoying.
Honestly, I don't think they really needed to limit the jetpack to being more of a horizontal motion, because, I
agree.
I mean,
considering the
honestly-
controls work like a charm normally, they should have just improved upon them and give a sense of verticality.
Again, do what Anthem does and let us have free flying motion. Like, make it so that you could snipe enemies while flying above.
Wow, we're actually talking positively about Anthem.
Well, flying controls are like one of the few
Also,
things that game does right.
The problem is with Anthem don't really rely on stuff like gameplay controls and more like in terms of content.
Anthem
problems
is
with
one of
Anthem
those
are
cases where the gameplay is technically really good, but the game is so bad that it
Oh, shit.
overshadows that.
Also, yeah, pro tip, don't collide with anything, because you will be disoriented and lose health really quickly.
It's kind of similar, Dwebs, to how Fair Fencer F has a great battle system, but the game around said battle system is so terrible and devoid of any kind of interesting content that it's just
Oh!
so
I
what?
have
So
no idea
wait,
what happened,
what?
sorry.
What? Did you die?
Basically, here's what happened. When the Star Destroyer basically got destroyed, I was right under it. It collided with me and made me fall off the map.
Did you have to refight the whole thing over again and you
Yes.
just cut that out? You
Yes.
know, I hate
The
fights
checkpoint
like that.
starvation is present in this one.
I hate fights like that where you can get defeated just by the
It's
defeated
not,
enemy pulling
it's
all
not as
over you.
annoying as, say, Jack 2 Renegade, but sometimes it can get pretty much on your nerves. But anyway, time to get to the lore dumping that I mentioned before, so pay attention because Atem has something to show us.
Let me guess. It's just as the ancient tablets foretold.
The game manuscripts predicted.
Yes,
The
the
ancient
majestic white Caucasian man has arrived to help us all.
As per
I really
Hold on. Yeah, they're called the Watchers.
Who watches the Watchers?
the Watchers of the
I'm
Watchers.
Watcher.
No, the
You
Watchmen.
already know me from.
Yes, we're doing this. The ancient Egyptians were ruled by aliens.
Wait. Why are we bringing Egypt into this?
Hold on. But then what happened?
From ignorance, and in the great experiment, civilization.
No.
Seriously?
I'm sorry. Even Prometheus is shaking its head at you.
And set aside his labors.
It's what I choose to believe, Joe.
Also, game. Newsflash. Roland Emmerich already did that. So.
So yeah, the great disasters that happened, famine, pestilence, they were caused by the Watchers.
Also,
And so, in the Great Wars.
Yes.
Can you see where this is going?
the apocalypse.
No, the Watchers are the one manipulating Europe into going World War II.
So
Of
you're ripping
course.
off. So,
You see, guys, Hitler in reality was just a gentle soul controlled by aliens, don't you know?
Of course.
Are you're so this game is so creatively bankrupt that it has to rip off Roland fucking Emmerich.
Hey.
well, I mean,
Kind of feels like a Roland Emmerich movie.
it's his best movie.
Hey, not
It's
just
still not very good by normal. Congratulations, it's his best film, but the
Hold
best
on,
Roland
hold on,
Emmerich
hold
film
on.
is not something to be proud of.
Hold on, which film of his are you talking
Stargate.
Stargate.
about? You know,
The one he made before Independence Day.
you know what's weird? This reminds me of Ultimate Avengers that revealed that the Nazis were in cahoots with aliens. Here's the thing, Hitler was still the one in charge. It wasn't like the aliens, you know...
And as you can imagine, Tesla works for them and is building this, the Ark, a gigantic battleship that will lead them to the Watcher's base and actually destroy them for good, because the ancestors of mankind manages to seal the Watchers inside this pocket dimension, the Void, or the
Wow.
Dark Void. So basically, now they're trying to get away from it, and in the result, they're trying to instigate chaos on mankind in order to, facilitate their escape.
Wow, there's just one problem here. We still know that World War II is still going to happen regardless of what we do, so it doesn't really feel like we're
Exactly.
accomplishing much. Again, to compare this to Ultimate Avengers, and by Ultimate Avengers
Right.
I mean the animated movie, Captain America still defeated them along with the Nazis during World
Hold
War
on,
II.
we're getting, I think we're about to get another cutscene.
So, Tio, are they trying to stop World War II before it happens or something?
Yeah, that's the idea.
So, Crimes of Grindelwald ripped this off.
Oh god.
Brilliant.
Ooh, who are you supposed to be? The equivalent
Don't
of that?
bother, she's just for this cutscene.
Oh, and here I thought she was going to be the equivalent of that reporter girl from Fallout 4.
It's no 4-star hotel, but the rest
Yeah, everyone loves that game.
Go ahead. Take a look.
So,
Bye.
A 10 will be by later.
See ya.
I have so many questions. So many.
She's like that blue guy out of Star Trek Insurrection. She's there for a bit, then she vanishes.
Seriously though, if the aliens want to, carry
in
out...
St. Petersburg 3 years ago, because you need to know.
Oh, goody, a flashback.
Yeah. This shows how Will and Eva, since they told they knew each other, they were in a relationship and then broke off. So.
Oh, let me guess. They're totally going to get back together by the end of this game, aren't they?
Apparently Eva was extremely against the war, while Will was just, wanting to do his business and stay away of trouble.
Let me guess. Ava somehow knew this all along, and she somehow planned for their plane to crash in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle.
So have you played this game? Yeah, I'm talking like Pedro, but at this point might as well.
Resident Evil 7 did a plot similar to this, a lot better though.
I wish you the best.
Kinda.
So, hopefully...
See what I mean also when I mentioned Will, as a Capcom protagonist, Will is so by the book and uninteresting, to say the least. I mean, yes, Frank West may be your average reporter guy with no special appearance and features, but his personality and what he does in his game, he surely compensates for that. Will has a jetpack. You can give the jetpack to anyone, it will be the same, honestly. You could give it to Tesla for all I know.
You know what Will is? Will is essentially a blander version of Leon. He's the new guy, the one who doesn't know what's really going on, but gets thrust into things, but deep down, he's badass enough to deal with it. Except Leon was kind of endearing, at least, for the sake that, holy cow, this guy just had a really bad first day on the job, and I mean, really?
What Leon are you referring to?
Leon Scott Kennedy.
Yeah, Leon Scott
the Resident
Kennedy.
Evil character.
For a second, I thought you were about Kingdom Hearts for some reason.
That's Squall, and I don't understand why no more wanted to change the name
Yeah,
at all.
I don't get it either.
Well, remember, too, the plot explanation is that he's ashamed.
But we don't need that technically. I don't really know what the in development reason was saying. Oh, let's have him change his name and have this story reason for it.
That'd be like
Especially
calling
since he's the
Tidus
only
Dio.
one. Especially since he's the only Final Fantasy character who really changes his name. Everyone else stays the same. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, it's like, well,
Yeah.
again, Leon was endearing because, like I said, holy cow, this guy just had terrible luck. Like,
Not to mention, Liu was kind of relatable, and the Resident Evil 2 remake pumps that up because there is some gameplay, it's some integration in a sense that just like Leon, you don't know much about the place where you are or the characters you interact with. So there is some sort of connection without being the whole, oh, you're immersed like Gordon Freeman shtick.
You know what's funny, honestly, is like, funnily enough, in the remake, they make it that the reason he wasn't in Raccoon City was because he was warned not to come. Funnily enough,
I'll be right back.
in the original version, the reason he's not there on time is because he was drinking after he had a heart tear-breaking breakup. Holy cow! Hey, it's just the day after your breakup. How about your first day on the job? And oh yeah.
Also, too, the whole if you play this game before works best only if there's the answer right after. Like for example, so you played this game before, and you answer, I've played Final Fantasy VII. So.
Well, I wasn't counting exactly on Jova responding with something. So.
No. Well, my personal favorite is, of course, the one where you start getting desperate and like, Pedro, please tell me there's no time travel in this game.
I mean, but yeah, going back to this game, Will just doesn't really cut it as a protagonist because we don't really know much about him. The story doesn't do much to make it...
We just shot down the Millennium Falcon!
Oh, cool! I must have missed it because I care so much about this game.
Also, yeah, technically speaking...
No, seriously, the design of that thing looks so much like the Millennium Falcon.
A bit, but I don't know, it's more reminiscent to the classic saucer because it's, circular and everything, but it has some gyroscoping into it, meaning that when it moves, it stabilizes itself. Oh yeah, also, these introduced enemies with shields, meaning they basically have more health.
Brilliant.
Why are there flying eggs with shields? At least that's what they look like, literally flying eggs.
Because aliens.
That's
another thing. The art direction of this game fucking sucks. It's so the game is just not really appealing to look at.
Hey,
just look at it. It's just bland. The textures are blah. The art direction.
Keep in mind the jungle setting is being completely abandoned. Most of the time, you will see this now: complete sterile gray, yellow, and brown canyons.
God help us if there's actually a desert level.
These were technically it was stacked right in the middle of the PS3 Xbox 360 cycle, meaning the old meme about making shooters relying too much on brown and bloom effect was basically the norm.
See, the reason that meme was funny was because it was true, god dang it.
I honestly don't think it was funny, Jova.
No, Teo. You know the saying it's funny because it's true? That's the thing. That meme kind of was the truth for, sadly, a good portion of it.
I mean,
that's not to say that there weren't exceptions, but the norm with shooters was kind of becoming this. Heck, even Resident Evil ran into a bit of that trouble too.
With 5, yes, and with 6 it became basically blue. It was supposed to be in the dark, but for some reason the predominant color became the blue. I don't know why.
But yeah,
Not to mention the logo of Resident Evil 6 fucking sucks and everyone memed into its existence.
Yes, the spider webs with 6.
Actually, no. To quote one of the friends of Maximilian when they made reactions to the video, it's like said, as Dr. Ruben, it looks like a giraffe being blown by a manatee.
God, that was weird. But yeah, going back to this game, again, guys, I know we could have had a game actually set in World War II, so it felt like we actually mattered more. We could have had a scene like where, this is going on during one of the air raids or dogfights. But nah. Let's have it set before World War II in a pocket dimension.
And under the scenes, behind the scenes stuff.
Again, what fun is this? Like, look, for as cliche as it may be to have stuff set in World War II, there's a reason that those games continue to sell well, except when they're done bad. I'm looking at you, Call of Duty, but I digress. It's like, again, the reason people do stuff in World War II is because it's flipping awesome to do stuff during these historical events. Case in point, Assassin's Creed. Again, was anybody really asking for, the scene in between World War I and World War II? The Great Depression?
Where we stop conspiracy theory-style aliens from taking over the world.
I mean, again, it's like if you had an Indiana Jones film set before World War II. Well, okay, I digress. An Indiana Jones film could probably still be awesome no matter what time it's set at. But again, you know, part of the charm with Indiana Jones, at least with films 1 and 3, was because it took advantage of its World War II setting.
Also, having things like the like I said, good controls, but this fucking blooming effect to symbolize the sun. Keep in mind, behind the scenes type of stories can actually be done right. For example, like the DC series 52, the original one. I mean,
True.
it gives an excuse to writer to.
Build
If
up.
you're clever enough to give sort of an underdog tone to characters that were not used that much and give them a chance to shine without necessarily compromising the event. Instead, here it's mostly subpar, to say the least. Will's contribution in himself is not that much, and you will see that, I think, immediately at the beginning of the next part, because I mean, the beginning of the next part has like a tagline that I think will have everyone rage. Anyway, in the meantime, I'll press later. In the meantime, Atem has a gift for you. Time to have Will look like what he is in the title, a repurposed Watcher helmet.
Wow, you didn't think to give that to me beforehand, even though I'm supposedly the
Here's
chosen
the problem.
one.
Yeah, Jova, guess what this does in gameplay, I mean. Try to guess what this does.
It obscures our vision, gives us more health and all that.
You're giving me more credit. Dweebs, what about you?
You got me.
Wait, why does
Shiroi,
he have to cast
what do
to
you
the
think?
side?
Slightly reverse time.
Pedro?
I'm gonna take a gander and say that it does absolutely jack shit.
No, it does something. It changes your HUD.
That's
That's
it.
literally it.
No,
I was the closest. Then.
It
Yeah,
doesn't.
basically.
Wait. You're telling me it doesn't give you more health? It doesn't, give you more of a shield like a helmet in a shooter would do. Something that even Splatoon got. It just
Because as we
changes
all
your
know-
HUD.
Because as we all know, going out of your way to do an incredibly hard task and only for the reward to be either incredibly minimalistic or incredibly easily taken away from you, like a broken weapon in Breath of the Wild, that's just so fun and satisfying.
Also, as you can see, for some reason, the jetpack was functioning in the cutscene even though it wasn't supposed to. Anyway, similar to a scene like, for example, in the first Darksiders game, now it's kind of a competition. Supposedly you're here to free some prisoner, but the team has wanted to spice things up and have a competition of who can kill the most out of the enemies. You don't really get it. There's no really this much to it. There are no rewards, no trophies. There are just some characters commenting, "Hey, you're doing better than a 10."
Not even a different
Yeah.
cutscene.
No.
It's
It just-
okay. I figured it out.
The cutscene is the same, but it changes like the dialogue at the end. It's like, "Hey, you did your best," or "Hey, you passed at a 10 like this." Also,
I think I figured it out too.
Give me just 1 second. Finish this. This is also the level, the level where your the fact that your radar is so poorly optimized comes to bite you in the ass because there's a lot of verticality and inner temples, and the enemies are keeping hiding in them, so you don't know where to get those fucking enemies all the fucking time. Anyway, go
Wow.
ahead.
I get the feeling that Atem is a character that's specifically made that you can feel better about yourself by comparison. Look how much better you are than this character. Look how much of a loser he is. There it is.
Honestly,
No.
Atem
Actually,
seems to get
Atem-
stuff
Atem-
done.
Atem is kind of like becomes like of a mentor figure for Will. Like he instructs you on what they're doing. He gave him the helmet and everything, and he's gonna be supportive. It's the ending that kind of not ruins him, but makes you question a lot of things. But
Let me
we'll get
guess.
to that in 2 parts from here.
Wait, we're that close to the ending already?
You'll be surprised, Jova. The other 2 parts are kind of long, similar to this, and they speed things up, 1 or 2 things up, but we surpassed the halfway point, pretty much.
It feels like we're still in the first act territory. Second act.
Actually,
at
we're
best.
technically in the second act. The game is divided in 3 episodes, and similar to the discs of Final Fantasy, the third episode is the shortest one. So, yeah. And yeah, like I said, the dark environment also don't help you at all. Like you're supposed to hunt down these aliens in these narrow corridors and everything, but the game needed so badly a better radar. Harry, here's an idea. How about your new helmet gives you a better radar? Why not that instead of just changing your HUD?
You know, there are two kinds of darkness in video games. There's the good kind, which is actually intentional, and then there's the bad kind, which they say is supposed to help the atmosphere, but really in reality just makes you think like you need to adjust your TV settings.
I mean, if the alternative was to have your generic detective mode clone from Batman from the Batman Arkham games, where your character basically just turns the screen into negative for the sake of you seeing the enemies behind walls and everything, which so many modern games implements it for not a lot of reason, like Witcher 3. Yes, you can argue with its magic powers, but it's overkilling, to say the least. But if the alternative was like that, I guess I would take it to make things easier, but it wouldn't fix the problems, because the inherent problems here is the fact that the level is way too, too naturally dark on its own. And considering how many braziers are there lit and everything, the level shouldn't be this dark, honestly.
Destroy the water forces.
Yeah, that thing was. It's also one enemy decided to self-destruct himself, but it's kind of fitting that.
He has to give up on life.
Suicide is never the answer.
So Tio, it's never a oh, sorry, go on.
No, crap! It literally looked like you fell into the void. So
Jesus
this is really
Christ,
into the void.
These brightness are.
So we really are into the void. Where's Dexdeath?
Pretty much, like I said, the poor lighting is just a nightmare.
So Tio.
Yes.
Silly question, but you remember how before, whenever we defeated an alien, the lizard thing would come out of its body?
Actually, it's randomized. Sometimes a slug can come out of the enemy, sometimes it doesn't.
Why?
Because.
Whoa, God! God,
see,
those
Atom
cuts were
already is
terrible.
cooler because he has a shield weapon, but you don't get in the game.
Can we play as Atom? I like him better.
Sorry, no.
You know, that's the thing. It's like, well, it feels like we're getting to know every character
It's a
except
draw.
Will.
There you go, that's your variation. We got a line at the end.
Oh, crud, I missed it.
Just a humble guide, huh? Apparently you've been holding out on me. They called you an adept.
We are all
Let me guess. Adept is superpowered being who can wield certain powers.
I wish, because I have no idea, honestly, Jova.
Wait, they never explain what adepts are?
No, it's more like a leader position. Oh yeah, by the way, this foreshadowing is so stupid because they're trying to do something similar to The Mummy Returns, where they say that our protagonist was secretly special and didn't knew. But let's just say that it doesn't really lead that much into somewhere. But anyway, we'll see in the next part if Will manages to find Ava and what exactly is the terrible thing at the beginning. See ya.
See ya.
See you then.
So yeah.